We stalk the Force like hunters, rather than surrender like prey to its enigmatic whims. Qui-Gon believes that the boy, Anakin is his name, stands at the center of a divergence in the Force, and believes further that finding him was the will of the Force. Who is this boy? Is the Force punishing me for my misgivings? Have I thrown it out of balance? Have I gone too far?
Darth Plagueis by James Luceno, what a fantastic novel. One that really adds context to the prequel trilogy, especially if you're a fan of Palpatine's youth. And although this book is not canon, there are a couple of moments that will change how you see the Phantom Menace. And considering we're celebrating 25 years since the release of episode 1, now is as good time as any to dive into it. So, as you'd expect, Darth Plagueis was someone who, very characteristically for a Sith, wanted to know everything going on within his vicinity, any possible threat, as a Sith who deceived and murdered his master, and was very conscious about the way the Force worked, worried he would be overthrown. So in this novel, on a couple of occasions, he's actually spying on conversations that take place during George Lucas's first installment of the prequel trilogy. The first is during the scene where Obi-Wan is warning Qui-Gon that the boy Anakin is dangerous. Plagueis heard that Master Qui-Gon thought Anakin was the prophesied chosen one, a high midichlorian count child that would bring balance to the Force and be the undoing of the Sith. He needed to see for himself if this was true. He needed to meet Anakin. And did you know, my dear friends, he got very close, but he just missed him. It sent the Sith into a frenzy. But just before our heroes departed for Naboo, he was able to see the conversation unfold. Qui-Gon rebukes, Anakin's fate is uncertain. It's also the scene where young Anakin is speaking with R2-D2, a very innocent kind of conversation. So why was Plagueis eavesdropping, and why did he care so much? Well, here's what happened. Qui-Gon mentioned Anakin to Count Dooku, who then told Palpatine, who then told Plagueis. And did you know, my dear friends, this is one of the few times we see genuine fear in the Mune, the public-facing Higo Damask. Imagine it, Darth Plagueis the Wise, with a sense of trepidation. He wanted to know for himself if Anakin was strong in the Force, and his biggest fear was that due to the fact Anakin was born with no father, he wondered if it was the Force's way of striking back for throwing it out of balance a decade ago. A curious Plagueis watched the conversation from nearby, and then later, Plagueis experienced a Force vision. He saw the future, a mirage of a black-suited cyborg-like dark side user, heavy breathing, accompanied by pain and suffering, and that convinced him the success of the Sith grand plan depended on Darth Maul successfully killing Qui-Gon Jinn, a true duel of the fates. This, of course, did occur, but Plagueis didn't live long enough to see it happen because he was killed by his apprentice Darth Sidious in his sleep. And a second instance where Plagueis is present is when he gets his droid 11-4D to listen into a conversation between Palpatine and Darth Maul. Plagueis is surprised they're meeting in a public place, and not in the works, hidden from prying ears. And when he tells him the Jedi will be no match for him, Plagueis experiences a disturbance in the Force. As his foresight rightly shows him, Obi-Wan would in fact be a match for the Sith apprentice. And knowing that Plagueis was aware of Anakin gives another twist to Revenge of the Sith, when Anakin is told the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.